Hello and herzlich willkommen zum Auf Die Fresse, the WXW review podcast in English. I'm Ian Hamilton, joined by Mike Kilby. And Mike, guess it's more of a preview podcast again because we're just days away from World Tag Team Festival, but how are you doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, doing great. Yeah, absolutely. Days away. The suitcase is out of the loft. We're ready to go.
I think I've got my packing to do, and I'm going to get a new suitcase. Wheels broken mine. I think some way back from Carrot. So yeah, put it off as long as I could. But yeah, all packing to do. Think I'm flying on Wednesday, and yeah, the weather looks absolutely awful. At least leaving England, strong winds. So yeah, my flight's on Wednesday, might not make till Thursday at this rate. But yeah, seeming it's not like. Well, I mean, it's not like flights out of UK haven't been cursed. Was it Wembley weekend? Folks couldn't get back on Monday. All that good stuff.
Yeah, Christ, that seems like an age ago, doesn't it?
I mean, last record would have been for Wembley, but yeah, that seems like a whole lifetime ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the suitcase is out of the bag. Out of the loft now already. And fair enough, I did quickly peek in it because obviously I need to put like a handful of things in there already. And I realised that the last time I had used that suitcase was for Carrot because my gold cummerbund was in there. So,
well, at least it's handy. You know where it is.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so I mean, we're not going to go too much in depth. There's been 3 shows since, Bremen, Hamburg, and literally just dropped this afternoon the WXW X North show, Newcastle. Now, have you seen much of the Bremen Hamburg shows, or is it because I know they dropped like literally days after Wembley when there was a lot of stuff going on? Just not even considering the whole. I think every podcast by law's got to talk about CM Punk, so we've ticked that off. But did you see much of the Bremen Hamburg stuff, or
no? Not really. They weren't really. They kind of seemed a bit throwaway for me. The Oku match I saw from, was it Bremen? I saw that one. That was good. But unfortunately, it's one of these things. the timings for some of these are a little bit precious at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say out for 2 shows, Oku, Lawrence Roman from Bremen. I mean, I know they put that on first in Bremen because obviously it was the Rev Pro Copper Box show the next day. And I think Oku just about made it. It was like meet and greets on the Saturday afternoon. Just about made it to those in, same time, a little bit late. From a Hamburg show to Hani Axel Tisha, I want to level up the series. I mean, these two shows, like the Bremen one in particular, like there was sound problems all night, like a lot of entrances. Have you seen this would be dating me horribly way back when, the Chikara video with where the sound system just stopped dead in the middle of an entrance, and like maybe 5-10 seconds in you hear Larry Sween just cackling like a madman.
No, I didn't see that. But
so basically, I mean, that Chikara from years and years ago. But basically, the sound system in Bremen, with all due respect, was for drizzling shits. Like the video was fine, but the sound, like, it would cut in and out of people's entrances, would straight up just restart. And, like, it wasn't good.
Yeah.
I mean, the show itself, like I say, wasn't too bad, but it was the kind of event where I think if this has just been a Wheel of Wrestling, not make tape, nobody said anything, but just because it made tape and you had all this stuff, make records,
under more scrutiny.
Yeah. Hamburg, I think this one was cursed because it was AEW All-In weekend. I mean, just from people we saw for Copper Box, there've been a load of people who may have done that Hamburg show were already in England. I think we said it was about 300 people there, which, when you think, the Market Hall's about 700 capacity, that's not great, but, I think this was announced before AEW announced, or at least the dates were booked before AEW announced Wembley. So yeah, it's not just promotions over here, but we're struggling against other competition. But yeah, I think out of the Hamburg card, Tahani Tisha, maybe everyone only really need to
Yeah.
go and see. Then the Newcastle show that dropped today, review just went up on backbodydrop.com literally about 5 minutes before we hit record on this. Not going to go over the results, but two matches I think you really need to go off your way to see. Crash Board against the French Doors, if only because I strongly suspect it'll be one of the last French Door matches you'll see for a long while. And Leon Slater, Peter Tahani main event. About 20 minutes was an absolute cracker, which, yeah, I mean, I'm hoping, I know Merv Pro's got that British J Cup late this year. It's what, next month, in fact? God, the years flying by. And I know Rev Pro were looking to bring Tahani over, so I'm crossing everything I can get, not get arthritis or anything like that, but no, if that can be redone somewhere in the UK.
Yeah.
Oh, heck, even we do it over Coward Weekend or something like that, but yeah, absolute crack of a match. And again, Leon's 18, 19, and she has not that much older, so yeah, it's not going to this ain't like this can be one and done. You're going to see this plenty of times through the years, and all the better for it. But yeah, I mean, I think just hand wave, I guess, for the August shows. I guess best work compared was like pre-season. You had a lot of big names missing. They weren't exactly must see. You had some good moments, but yeah, they were what they were, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think the heading into Tagfest, it's always there's a bit of a gap between. I don't mean this disrespectfully, but matches that matter, and then Tagfest. Obviously, last year we had Shortcut, and then there was nothing until Vienna, which was a week before, which didn't even make tape.
Yeah,
which I was at, and then it was Tagfest. So there was basically pretty much no matches of any real consequence for nearly 2 months, really, possibly even more than 2 months. So
I think what doesn't help Tag League this year, and we'll get into it. The format didn't seem locked down. I think a lot of what's going on around this weekend, it's only recently just been locked down. I mean, we'll go through the cards in a bit. But like, you had a lot of names that were just. I mean, November Vital was advertised as an 8-woman tournament, and now it's 4-women semis and final, which great, I suppose. But at the same time, there's a few bits of weirdness. But we'll get on to that. But I'm going to skip the music stuff because say we've got a fair amount. But international wise, a few surprises in the usual slate names we follow. Oscar Leuber, still with New Japan, still seeing the lights. I guess I don't know if this is plans change territory, but was booked to be facing Satoshi Kojima at the start of the current Road to Destruction tour. Zack Sabre Jr. had a match with Bolton Oleg on night one. Well, was going to. He got in. Bolton got injured. They swapped that around, and then afterwards they pretty much unbooked Oscar so he could do Kojima and Sabre on night 2 of the tour. Kojima got his match with Oscar yesterday, in fact, in Hiroshima, beating him. So, pretty much as you expect, I guess. Aigle Blanc wrapped up his tour in Japan for win and loss. Of course, appeared in North this past weekend. North XW show, that was his first match back under the XW banner. Two names I don't think any of us expected. I think when you messaged me the Instagram post, Baby Allison at the Ice Open Dojo in Saitama earlier this month. And debuted from yesterday, losing effort with Kyuri against Totoro Suzuki and Yuri, which, hey, if it's only there for a week, 10 days, it's getting that kind of training in. Even if it's just a day or two, it's better than doing now, I guess. And Maggot, where Baby Allison goes, Maggot's usually not that far behind. Was over in Japan. He wrestled for Sportiva Entertainment on Wednesday gone, September 13th. Teamed with Kenta Kasugi in a losing effort against Shigehiro Irie and Giorgio Tani in Nagoya. So there's two names.
Wednesday Curry Pro Wrestling or something like that.
Yeah, it's that one. Like, I know WrestleNomics, they do the monthly promotion. These wrestlers have wrestled the most and have had the most matches all year. Like, I keep seeing it's Sportiva. It's like one of those promotions which I think someone told me it's effectively Irie's promotion. I don't know how much that's true, whether it's his home in terms of that's where he'll always be kind of thing. It was during the pandemic, this company, Collegra, I think it was, based in Osaka, Like they got fame because they ran pretty much every single night of the week on YouTube. I mean, they no longer run because guess what? That stuff's expensive, and on YouTube, YouTube ad revenue for that kind of stuff ain't great to begin with. And also, when you infect half your roster allegedly with COVID and piss them off, that's another thing that'll not help in your favour. But yeah, they're one of those who you go on Cage Match, you'll see them a nice ribbon, but not that kind of level of Japanese promotion. You'll see them pop every week. But yeah, a couple of names that we're way more familiar with popping up, and you'd guess maybe when the WXW schedules clear a bit more, might be back over in a lot longer than a week.
Yeah.
And two more names who we've already covered are going to be in Japan for a little bit longer, and that is Geneva Beast and Tempest and Leighton Buzzard. And I've just realised I haven't updated these results, so I think it's they're over short things. LJ Cleary announced he's going to Noah soon.
Yeah.
So there's a lot from Europe coming over, but just going through from like the end of August, like Leighton Buzzard. I mean, pretty much Buzzard and Tempest have been if they've been teaming up, if they've been in the same match, we've been tag team partners, which figures, but they're over to I think they said the end of the year at least. So they're on pretty much every show they do, even the ones which like mixed wrestling, normal wrestling / deathmatch shows. So we're over, we're getting plenty of reps in. And another name that I believe this is like a permanent relocation. Endokara's back in Big Japan. This time seems permanently. So yeah, seems to be I won't quite call it an exodus, but definitely a lot more names moving from Europe to Japan than even pre-pandemic times.
Yeah, yeah, they seem to be staying and getting booked quite strongly as well. So it's it's a good opportunity for them. I think unfortunately, I think the problem with someone like Endokara is that there's not really anybody. There's not enough people in Europe who work the same sort of style as him.
I think the thing with Endo's other thing as well is it didn't seem like he, I don't say exposure is the right word, but the kind of promotions he worked for, like this is not a knock on any of these promotions I'm going to name. Like in the UK, for instance, it was like mainly Wrestling Island was the main one he'd work with.
Sovereign Pro, didn't he work for?
Sovereign Pro, that's something. Wrestle Island, that was Alice Inc. was the main one who from like this current scene's gone there. But yeah, like Soft Pro booked him, and like I'm scrolling through Endokara's Cage Match, you can obviously hear there, and there is like very little in the UK. It's like, again, I know Brexit's really complicated things, but at the same time, it's like even pre-pandemic, pre-Brexit, it wasn't exactly name who was being brought up much. I think when we looked in the past, maybe Kamikaze Pro 2019, LDN a little bit earlier. It's like we've made this complaint endlessly. It feels like in Britain, at least, the scouting leaves a lot to be desired, and we're seeing with names like end up relocating to Japan. I guess to an extent, Vinny the Beast not maybe being used that much. Maggot, he's pretty much only done progress. Babe Larson's only done progress. Igor Blanc not really done anything. It's like, yeah, get Brexit, money's worth a lot, but also you've seen a lot of these names moving, further out to Japan rather than, US or, even the UK selfishly. I think that says a lot.
Well, and I think a lot of the midweek shows in Britain have gone. Likewise, in Europe, they barely exist. I think, do they? So, I mean, if you can go to Japan and like as sort of Maggot's proven, you can go and work somewhere on a Wednesday evening. You can go work Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
But I'm looking now on Cage Match, and like you're looking, was it so? 10th September was last Sunday. Shows in Japan, and we're not talking like New Japan, Noah, All Japan, but like quote unquote indies. Monday, couple of shows. Tuesday, a couple of shows. Wednesday, said no spot either there. So pretty much every night of the week, if you're willing, I'll say willing to grind, but if you're able to get the bookings or get the connections, the show's going on. It may not be glamorous top level stuff, but work, especially in wrestling.
Exactly.
But so yeah, we've got a few more names to keep an eye on. But so I guess a bit of a news dump before we do the Tag League preview, and of course we do the Shotgun vlog as well. There's a few other bits and bobs announced. So we're doing the season ticket gimmick again starting next year. I think was it 2020 was last year, and then obviously the pandemic hit and that kind of got thrown up in the air. But that means we do have a lot of dates for 2024. So marked on Hamburg, there's 3 shows on their season ticket. That'd be February 9th, May 17th, and November 27th.
Yep.
And just looking at those, so you're probably looking the Marketal shows about probably Dead End again, and then Two Wheel of Wrestling tends to be what they get there. Batch Cup in Frankfurt gets March 23rd, so that'll be probably like 16 Karat Gold Revenge, as we've taken to call it. July 20th, which I guess will be Wheel of Wrestling, and November 9th, which on this year's slate is Broken Rules. And then Oberhausen, of course, getting a lot. January 20th, June 8th, August 10, October 4th, 5th, 6th, and December 21st. So Back to Roots kind of gives away January 20th. August 10 you'd expect to be Shortcut. The anniversary you'd expect to be December 21st. Or October 4, 5, 6, that kind of tells you Tag Festival, whatever the autumn festival is, will be those dates. Carried, of course, we know it's March 8, 9, and 10 isn't in the Oberhausen season ticket because tickets have already been on sale, and they can't guarantee front row season tickets because I think front rows are more already gone for Carrot next year.
The only thing I do want to raise is for Tagfest or whatever the autumn festival is that Unity Day is on the Thursday the 3rd, 2020.
Oh, you've got to remember that was a few years back we had one where
so potentially that Thursday, which would likely be the Inner Circle, could be quite quiet.
Yep. I mean, at least trains to Gelsenkirchen, it's a lot more mainstream than it's all right Nord. And I remember that wasn't too bad, but have to play. Obviously, we're more than a year out, but that's a big spanner to throw in the works, especially for folks who want to take in, Inner Circle. But so if you want to mark your calendars for 2024, start planning ahead, there you go. There's I'd say pretty much all the big shows really, because I think the June one, Broken Rules, I think is usually around that slate. Broken Rules offhand, depend. I mean, they've been really fast and loose with the most of the smaller shows anyway. So, what we see for next year. Someone coming over to Germany very soon is Akane Fujita. So she's going to be over in Germany for best part of the month, appearing on the 21st of October in Bielefeld, and ending 6 shows later in Broken News in Frankfurt on November 11th. She used to be a stalwart nice ribbon. She's been wrestling about 10 years, and this will be her first tour of Europe. So I think this was another one of those, I would say, Irie aided tours, but one of those Irie's smashed open the door, and so if we're doing the shows and we've got roster space, why not?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Irie is never going to recommend somebody who's rubbish. And I think likewise, Irie probably holds a lot of weight back home and probably can say, you need to get over there for a month or so. And mutually beneficial to everybody.
We saw, I think you mentioned as well, this is my notes, Kohai Kanoshita.
Yeah, he's back again.
He's coming over. So again, that's a talent pipeline.
Yep.
I'm not saying even if it's just like opening match, like he did in his first run with was it Anil Marek with I am blanking horribly here, but that kind of level of wrestlers where it's not from the main event spots because everyone's you throw in someone who's in for a month and put them in a title position, you're not going to have. I'm probably cursing everything right now here, but you're probably not going to have Fujita win the women's title and take it back to Japan because right now that's probably it's going to cost a lot more to bring someone back from Japan, even if you do the title change there. Yeah, whereas exactly. If you have them against your Ilya Blooms, your Anil Mareks, even your rotation of that kind of level, it's it's on the job training kind of thing.
Exactly.
Speaking of on-the-job training, I don't know if you saw the World Tag Fest preview show that we put up on. Well, it's live on Friday. But looks like Sebastian Hackel's going to be back in the roster soon. So they had him on, pretty much talk about his shortcut for top experience. and so oh, I've cleared my schedule. Axel Tischer joined in, and got a bit heated. Of course, just wrestling. Tischer wanted to match with Hackle, but clashed with pre-existing stuff with WWE. Hackles apparently said he'd be available for shows in Frankfurt and Hamburg. That's what, November 11th and 18th, I believe. Yeah, 11th and 18th. Yep. So all I'll say is, obviously we didn't say this, but the fact that having Tischer do this, that's kind of point to maybe Hackle and Tischer at the anniversary show, maybe.
Yeah, and that's a sort of match I think it will probably get a bit of that'll get like a bit of newspaper coverage, I feel, doesn't it? I don't know if that says that to you, but it'll Hackman is obviously a known commodity in terms of the world of sort of WWE wrestling, and Axman off a run a couple of years back, known for it. So I think that's probably why they're working each other, isn't it?
I mean, the only thing I'm a little bit unhappy is maybe a bit strong. I wish they could have delayed the kickoff of this until after the Tihani match, because now you've got that out of, if Tischer loses, oh well, he was distracted by messing around with Hackle. It's like, well, could you not have done this like say on the final day of the weekend? Get the verbal barbs in. I mean, I get it's a very minor thing. I love to nitpick, but it's like, really, you start in one storyline when the other one's just about to finish. I don't know, but say how it goes. I mean, hey, it's not going to be as contentious as build last year for the anniversary weekend, the anniversary show, to say the least. Some other shows have been announced. I think again it's announced this afternoon. 4 Academy shows called Wednesday Heat. I mean, be hot any day of the week. We'll find out on Tuesday, but on Thursday even. But October 4th, October 18th, November 1st, and November 15th at Gelsenkirchen the Academy. I was thinking earlier this week, like, and I know this is probably a remember when, but can you remember it's about maybe a bit late than this time last year, they announced that slate of every month we're doing stuff at the Academy, like every month would be Fight Forever stuff. That quickly fell by the wayside, and I think we said this is no pre-sales, literally turn up, pay on the day. So I mean, this would be the first, I guess, proper Academy shows in. Ooh, I mean, I know that we've done a few.
There was a few in the
Academy
summer, yeah.
I mean, I think there's one just last week, when the when the guys were in Newcastle for the North Show, we did like a Familien Fest, in Gelsenkirchen, where they had the ring back where we did for the CZW guys. We did in Marl, in Hagenbusch. That one was another live event. There's a lot of Academy guys plus whoever. I think really since, if you don't count the GCW stuff, really, first proper show since May, which, I don't know if that just speaks to, I mean, to be fair, they have been trying to weave some stuff from the Academy shows to the main roster, which, we'll touch on the Shotgun stuff, but I think, it's maybe one of the things they could probably would want to settle down as we, move towards 2024.
Well, this is something they are saying they're trialing it, aren't they? So they're trying to see whether these are successful. And I mean, they did a Wednesday show a few weeks back, didn't they? In that other town, I can't remember where it was, but
the Marl show.
That was like, Marl. That's it. They're trialing it. I think every other week, every other Wednesday. And I think the intention of it is that it's people who are training in the academy, it's a incentive that if they really step up in training, they'll be able to get in the events. That was the quote from Coach Dryskool. Yeah, it gives an incentive to sort of step it up. It's an interesting format. I mean, if it's still around in March, does it mean that Carrot becomes 5 days long?
I know people. I know. Oh God, was it Felix was joking?
I jokingly said to Rotation, does that a few weeks back when they announced the Mole show, where I said, can we do a 7-day Carrot? And he went, maybe. So,
well, I know Felix has been.
If I have to start playing in a Wednesday, then that.
Yeah,
Well, I
know
mean, you
Felix
do
was,
already, to be fair. So.
and that's more used to getting in early. But I know Felix was joking about, well, joke's absolutely the wrong word, but comparing this upcoming weekend to WrestleMania weekend. I mean, if you start out in Academy in a circle, maybe other promotions outside of the, the Wrexham Now and Friends stuff that carries on being a thing, but maybe this is me holding on to that one thing we've been speaking of. It feels like all year, but these Academy shows ain't making tape. And I noticed on, at least for Mal's show, Patrick Bork was part of that lineup. It's reps for the GMC guys if they are indeed aiming for Amboss versus GMC at Back to the Roots.
Yeah, it's more opportunities, isn't it?
So, anyway, speaking of, we mentioned, Calvin, we're doing the Wheel of Wrestling Wildcard Edition again. That's going to be part of a Coward Weekend. I don't know if that's going to be as well as instead of... was it last year we did 2 Wheel of... No, we did Ambition, we did Wheel of Wrestling on the Sunday. And it was very direct renowned friends, so I don't know whether this is replacing one of those.
Carrot this year had Ambition, the wildcard show. No, it didn't have a wildcard, did it?
No, so it was Ambition,
Ambition
Friends. Showcase, Wheel of Wrestling, and then it'd be interesting to see whether they try and sneak in another show. I mean, they did this tag league last year, and I mean, worked pretty well. But again, the main issue I think we flagged for time was like the showcase show, where you've got a lot of names who are new to everyone. In terms of you've got a lot of names there of like was it last year, Jade Newman, who's coming out cold apart from those who watch that part of American Indies. LJ Cleary, who outside of his music was pretty cold as you saw fan. And it's that whole kind of thing of everyone's going to get 10-15 minutes to try and connect, and if it works, they get brought back. I mean, it's a good idea to get a lot of names you wouldn't expect on these shows, but you just have to see who applies and who's actually picked, because it'll be the kind of thing you want to see names that aren't for norm, but at the same point, the names that I see from watching it is be a lot different from names you see. Be a lot different from people who only watch, even just watch WWE and come to WXW because they saw Hackman wrestling at anniversary weekend. So it's the landscape's different for everyone. I think it's a case of do you try and appeal to the nerds like me and you, or do you and I guess this is the constant problem I guess we have is you can't have keep the same stuff up, but at the same point, not everything's going to land.
Yeah, and there was some things on the sort of I think the and friends format is done now. So with that in mind, you kind of that needed to change, and I think there's going to be elements from the and friends which will come back, but it's just there was some things which were very, very badly received in March, and I think they kind of want to avoid that really if they can.
I mean, I suppose there's nothing that would stop them from doing a hey, I know nothing, so don't read anything into this. But there's nothing stopping them from going, hey, there's nothing stopping them from going, hey, the wildcard show, we've got, if he's still champion at the time, Leon Slater, and his opponent is, I'll say it, they, on the North show, they had Robert Dreisker and Rory Coyle, and at the end, they pretty much set up, a rematch, with, under hardcore / weapons rules, so there's nothing stopping them from doing the wildcard thing. Okay, you probably wouldn't want Robert Dreisker as world champion on that kind of show, on that kind of spot, unless they build it up some. But there's nothing stopping you from saying he's the North champion Leon Slater and his opponent also from North ... that kind of stuff. So
I think the thing with the sorry, we're getting a bit off kilter, but I think the problem I had with the and Friends show is that it was just always showcasing the matches, and they were in a completely dead bubble. They were in their own bubble, and for me, it should have always been. Here's Body Slams, Easy Lovers. They're taking on from APC. We've got Kuro and Tiago Montero, and it should have been like them two taking on each other, and it's Body Slam versus APC. You've got Action Wrestling versus Progress Wrestling, ICW versus Pro Wrestling Österreich or something like that. And it was never that. And I think that was what it always needed to be.
Yeah, and I think, again, like, I understand the whole concept of the offer match, and we'll move on from this very quickly, but it's a problem I always have when I see, like, the versus show, this wasn't a versus, like, co-promoted show, is, when they put forward a title match, it is exceptionally rare for titles to change, and, it's the kind of thing where people will go, well, who's it last year? Was it Bodyzoid did the vacant tag title? So, that's obviously an exception, but it's very rare to get a title change because, one, like, say, WrestleCon, they had Dries, I believe, was it last year, as their champion. They weren't going to change the title because, even if it's title change happened in Germany, great. But you've now potentially upset your home fans who may not want to go over to Germany to watch, the one show and the costs associated with it. Even your big title change. I think, see how it shakes down. But if I guess we were to do the double X renowned friends stuff again, not even like a form of thing, like just like say one promotion versus another. Politically, I know being an absolute ball ache, but it could also be a lot more spicier than the promotion most people haven't seen. The whole get over, wash, rinse, repeat as we were. Heck, the match we won this year with was a Passion Pro.
Yeah.
Oh, Body Slam, that was it. The match announced because someone couldn't make the show, had a substitute on the day, and it caught everyone on the hop.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff. So we'll see how it goes. But and before we move on to the previews, stuff involves shotgun vlogs, building seeds being planted. Ilya Bloom, Anil Marek, Bloom, of course, beat Tristan Archer over in, as I scroll up, over in Hamburg. So possible jealousy there. Ilya Bloom getting wins when Marek can't. Nikita Christmas attacked in Hamburg before the match with Rotten Flot against Rambo and Metahan. Of course, Rotten Flot qualified for World Tag Festival, as you'll see. They're blaming Amboss on Nikita being attacked. Looks like we're going to have a new manager in Direct to be Robin Christopher Forwerk, which I don't know if that's his real name, but wasn't Christopher Robin Winnie the Pooh?
Yes, that was.
Here, for God's sake.
Yes, he needs to get with him.
But Robin Christopher Forwerk, he's getting this new group, High Performer Limited, which work with my name there, pal. But Maggot, Baby Allison, Tristan Archer, and Senza Volto all approached, and most of them just laughed him off. So not a good start, but you've got to start somewhere, I guess. Fast Time Moodle getting a match at Tag Festival. We'll cover this in a bit. Just fed up not performing to the same level as in WWE he does elsewhere. He's going to get chopped to shit by Luke Jacobs, and I'm here for it. Abe Everett challenged Devlin McCarper to a women's title match, but Devlin's GWF women's title match, women's titles as well. Femme Fatale. I think this recalls Diva Nature, I think is a phrase someone used years back.
Yeah.
But Ava's recent history in title for title matches ain't great, so yeah. But they also announced in the vlogs that Femme Fatale's a momentum, which we'll cover in a second. We're also doing Dover Nicholas, the final arrow on night one of Tag Festival, which is a pretty quick payoff to those blokes coming out in the old arrows entrance jackets, but hey ho. And then World Tag Festival itself, Amboss told can't use the free bird rule. So we picked Robert Dreisker and Lawrence Roman to be the team for the tournament. And we'll go on in a second, but Tag Festival is now going to be a 12-team knockout tournament as opposed to round-robin blocks, which, to be honest, probably for the best because, there's only so much you can do with 2 4-man blocks. I would do, both blocks being one before the final day, or, you can only get to the final day drama a certain way before it gets a little bit too predictable, I guess. But so that was the Shotgun Vlogs. I guess, coming up this week, we've got, of course, World Tag Team Festival. In a circle, just one match announced. That's Thursday, September 21st. 6:30 doors, 7 p.m. bell time in Gelsenkirchen. Psycho Mike against Jacob Crane's the only thing announced. And I think we said that's the only thing we are going to announce. So, I know Jacob had 16 body slams in March. don't know how many body slams you get for tag team, but yeah, he's going to be getting body slammed a lot on Thursday, I feel.
Yeah, we need to. There needs to be a sort of an over under bet going on for body slams that weekend.
I'm not counting those.
Oh no, definitely, that'd be great.
But then Friday, I mean, I think the things for being a circle, like the last few have been mystery cards going in, for better or for worse. And I think right now, no, we're not saying who's going because people be flying and we don't know the plans. I mean, hey, if you get there early enough, you'll probably see some of the cards spoiled. I think as I have done the last few times, seen people rock up. But yeah, and I think as well just in general forecast, like 19, 20 degrees over that weekend. It's definitely going to be short weather in that room.
I'm just glad Inner Circle is this week and not 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Oh fuck yeah! I mean, I don't do well in the heat the best of times. Yeah, again, I don't know. They might move out that show and put it, on the concourse bit. I don't know if that's possible or not, but yeah, we did that for the CZW show. We did that for the kids thing last weekend. Yeah, it's something they are going to have a look at doing this. But again, the GMC Fight Club, they do. This was the last time they ever did was at kickboxing classes. You walking past them with padded mats.
Yeah.
So it's the kind of thing you're going to have to be a bit careful of doing either way. But so yeah, we won World Tag Team Festival kicks off Friday, and they announced the first round match. So not going to ask for predictions or anything like that. But Amboss, that's Dreisker and Lawrence Roman against Los Vipers of Ares and Latigo. Yeah, I mean, it's. I guess this thing with it being a round robin tournament, there's going to be a lot of matches you ain't going to see. Whereas at least last year was a case of, I've win the block for my get base. So I think it depends on the pairings, and they haven't. I think it's going to be like characters not going to be bracketed. So it'll be a case of you win, it's a blind draw for night 2, which works for Carrot.
Next year.
Yeah. But yeah, I think, maybe a bit of clash of styles. I mean, Ares and Latigo been over in Liverpool right now for GCW. They've not been a regular tag team. I think this weekend they've tagged more than they have in the past 12 months. So, yeah, Los Vipers will be a regular thing this rate, but it should be looking good. But I do get the impression that, Amos' whole thing of we're going to reclaim every belt. I can't even go down in round 1. But who knows? Next, we've got Renegades. That's Shihiro Irie and Mizuki Watase against the French Door, Sense of Alto and Igel Blanc. Now, the Newcastle show they put up this afternoon was the first time the French Doors had teamed since May.
Yeah.
And was, you've seen the shows, Senza flips people off. If he loses, he'll offer a handshake if he wins. May not be in this match, but I don't think we leave next weekend for French Doors still a tag team. Or even with Sense of Alto.
I'd be very surprised if he still was, yeah. I'd be very surprised if Volto was still with them, yeah. Obviously, the demeanor's completely changed. And
he's selling T-shirts with a new name on as well, too.
Oh, okay.
Point on it. But yeah, so keep an eye on that. Maybe Friday, maybe later in the weekend, but yeah, so that's definitely a case of when, not if. Yeah. Next up, we've got Y2 Cutie. That's the pairing of Becca and Aaron Rourke, debuting against Jörn Simmons and Elvaniel, who are going under the name of Massive Love. And was it 2018? The last time Jörn was in Tag Festival under the team name Massive something or other. That didn't end well for his partner.
Yeah, the old Massive product, wasn't it? Yeah, it's a shame we don't have a licensed music anymore, because obviously they could have come out to who is it, the who sings "Where Is My Mind"?
Oh, the Smiths.
No, not the Smiths. The Pixies. The Pixies. Obviously, they have Gigantic, the Big Love. They could have come out to that. So yeah, it's Simmons and Levaniel. They've been obviously been together quite happily for a long while. I think they've yeah, they've been perfectly happy for a while. But as is these things, there's always a few spanners to be thrown in the works. I mean, do we get Dark Levaniel?
God, Blackhead. I mean, I suppose for one thing, history of WXW's taught us, Yearn doesn't play well with others for long.
No,
Whether
exactly.
it's Carsten, whether it was he we can't name, maybe even now, we'll see. I'm not going to do
Dragon.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to do predictions, but I don't know. Maybe we'll go over distance, but I can see this one being more of a blow up than a success, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, it would be nice if he did win. But
yeah. Next, we've got Rotten Flot against Only Friends. So, like with tag festivals in years gone by, the titles aren't on the line in every match. So, you don't get the stupid champions losing around the first match and winning back when it was round robin. But basically, Only Friends have got to run the table to keep the belts. So, I think this one they were pushing was the Broken Rules last year where we did the table match. I vividly remember us questioning just what the bloody hell was that. I'm not talking about the could Bobby Guns got in his leg from that match, but we're playing that up, as being the fairly recent past. So yeah, Rotten Flot and Only Friends, the two regular WXW teams up against each other in round one. So yeah, one's making the second round, that's for sure.
Yeah, this could be a bit of a coupon buster. I think this one. You kind of expect one of these to go quite far in the tournament. You'd like to think the champions will remain in for a bit longer, but it could be
same point. Rotten Flot have only just come back. Do you knock them out in round one?
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit of it's a bit of a surprising first round, but it does obviously give almost in a way it's actually the champions have got the hardest first round match because they're kind of the most established tag team and sort of on the
individual WXW roster at least, yeah.
And
especially as Bremen, Only Friends lost the belts, albeit briefly, because Rotten Flot did the whole VAR gimmick. So it's not a case of it's absolutely not a case of they're coming on a good run of form. They're coming in, I would say, on some rather shaky form. Rotten Flot, Only Friends, and Rotten Flot have done somewhat well in the last few weeks. So, see there. Next up, we've got Second Gear Crew, Manders and Mance Warner against the Astronauts.
Second of the GCW contingent. Yeah.
And what I will say is, maybe we've recorded today early, but so the Astronauts, as we record, are the Big Japan Tag Team Champions. That's Fumino Yabe and Takuya Nomura. They are wrestling for Big Japan Monday, and I'm going to have to translate because Google hasn't, at Korakuen Hall for Big Japan, defending the titles against Kazumasa Yoshida and Daisuke Sekimoto, probably most recently famous in Germany for devouring burgers before 16 Karat Bold. And yeah, it would not stun me if Abe and Nomura were coming to Germany without those titles, either physically or in name.
Yeah, but they've also not been billing them as such, so.
True, but again, it's all whole politics and all that. Do you want to have your champions over and losing the first round? I mean, I'll say this: I haven't had a chance to see as much of the Astronauts as others who are going have. I've heard nothing but good things. So
one of the best tag teams in the world, by miles. So
Second Gear Crew. I don't want to say over GCW, so we're not, but this I have a bad feeling this could be a bit of a style clash. I'd be surprised if I'm proven wrong. But yeah, this is one I have a bad feeling. If things don't click well, this could be one which everyone's going, I thought we were really good. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see next Friday night, and I'll be prepared to eat a lot of humble pie. Then wrapping up the first round, Hector and Dennis Stolnick against Magd and Psycho Mike. I think it's pretty much going to be the comedy routine of the night. Hector and Dennis have been arguing on shotgun vlogs. Never want to be a tag team, but they've somehow been winning matches and getting into it. So I guess that counts. Maggot and Psycho Mike. Maggot's the number one contender. Psycho Mike's the Smash champion. I guess if you want to play all, how on earth does this work out politically? I wouldn't be shocked if they made it to the final, but not involved in the decision.
Well, I think you could also have Hector and Dennis, stumble their way through a way. I think equally possible.
I mean, it's more just a case of which of those two loses. Or do you have Maggot lose, a month out from 6 weeks out from his big title match? Again, it's me. I know it's me thinking way too much into this, but again, that's going to be the big comedy one. It being Oberhausen, it's going to be eaten up, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, it's that will be the general vibe. I think there's a few matches on that first night which I feel will probably have more laughs than maybe like screams and shouts, but I think including this one. But I think all in all, the first round there's some very very inspired. Well, maybe not inspired, but there's some very left field options. There's people who probably would have guaranteed matches against each other earlier, but equally, I think once you get into the second round, it's a bit more of a lucky draw. That's when I think the more exciting matches will come in. But there's always there's half. I think the Renegades match one is the Renegades French Doors match one's quite interesting. I think the Astronauts Second Gear Crew. I think that obviously that's exciting for other reasons. I think there's just a lot of sort of question marks over a lot of it. It could be. I don't really have any fears of anything's going to be terrible, but
not these lineups.
No, exactly.
And then the other match announced the final hour Icarus against Dover, so paying off the whole House of Hungry stuff. I mean, I wouldn't say it's been rushed. I mean, they kicked Dover out of Amboss. Was it back in June? Obviously Dover's not been around, so you can't really do much. So we've been doing by proxy, through notes and fellas in the House of Hungry entrance jackets. So I think this one, I have no idea how it's going to go. Would not be surprised if this was bloody as a farewell. I mean, heck, Dover's old nickname is for Hardcore Hungarian, as Dave Bradshaw been one to tell us all the time. So I would not be surprised if we got blood. Just for those who don't go to GCW, don't feel left out.
Yeah, it's it seems weird that we've not seen Dover before this match. He hadn't sort of come back on another one of the shows. It's very odd.
Not even through video or anything like that. It's literally just been the fellas in the old jackets and notes.
Then it's announced, yeah. Very odd.
You do what you can, but it's this treating us for farewell, so see how it goes. But then pretty much straight after night one of Tag Festival, so it's doors at 11:30, and then the show itself is a minute to midnight. Spoiler, it's going to start Saturday morning. You know what wrestling's like with doors and start times. But this is a long-lived GCW. It's the show, but isn't included in any ticket bundles for the Tag Festival weekend. From what I saw earlier, the tickets are going pretty well for this. Like right now, you can get rows 4, 4, and 5 and standing only. So first 3 rows all sold out. So this was first for 2 cards from GCW. So I'll go from bottom up. Manswan and Manders against Effie and Ali Catch. Jordan Oliver against Rotation. Ares against Shikahiro Irie. Dark Sheik against Becca. Gringo Loco against Leon Slater. Joey Janela against Nick Gage, which GCW is over in Liverpool right now as we're recording. Nick Gage has been on those shows, and it feels like Nick Gage being over in Germany. Granted, it's not 2023 Nick Gage. It got the buzz when it was announced, but that seems to have dissipated pretty quickly. But yeah, so he's over his first match in Germany, what feels like forever for many reasons. Jimmy Lloyd taking on Rina Yamashita for the Ultraviolet Championship, and Peter Tahani challenging Blake Christian for the GCW World title. So, yeah, if you're into GCW, that looks a hell of a strong card. I know they oh, God, was it Francesco Akira had originally been announced to take on Ares and quickly got pulled. I don't know if
Yeah,
that was someone pointed out it was AAA against New Japan, which big political no-no, at least from New Japan's side. Yeah, so that one got swapped out. But yeah, I mean, what I would say, if it wasn't an extra ticket, I would absolutely be going to this one.
yeah.
Out for two cards, but
I will be going to this one. I'm going to everything as I always do. I kind of felt that there was going to be something that there would obviously be something that we would regret not being there for. So
yeah,
it's
I
just
mean, right now I'm saying no to the Friday one, but I could easily see me if they're doing like the album cast or whatever they call it. Or if it's pay on the day, I could see myself, talk myself into going to this one. Because I
yeah.
mean, if only for Nick Gage, like he ain't gonna be back over. And okay, it may not be, in his prime, but it's the kind of thing of, when do you see him? When do you have a chance to see him? Let alone, technically GCW's German debut. You can only debut once.
Yeah, and I don't ever see myself going to a GCW show apart from here. So that's probably why the appeal. This show appeals to me in that sort of sense.
Yeah. Plus, just I mean, as I'm watching now, I've got GCW Liverpool show on TV now. Leon Slater against Gringo Loco, that could be all kinds of nuts. Gringo's good
Yeah.
base. Leon flies around. That's going to be very special in its own right. I'm just glad front row's gone because I would want to be nowhere near the ring if there's any glass or any of that shit.
Oh yeah,
Just,
no,
yeah.
yeah. It's not anywhere I want to be close to. So.
I mean, Christ, you see people normally, the showboat where they normally run in the States or in New Jersey. There was one video I saw this not too long ago where they had like pane of glass propped up against something, and there was people like not diving in, but like diving to crouch near it so they get a shot of a glass smash. Like these weren't like professional photographers, I don't think. It's like, how many brain cells have you lost if that's where you want to be? In the path of flying glass, but each their own, I guess. So that's midnight start, which means Saturday be a fairly late start, 1:30 p.m. doors, 2 p.m. bell time for Femme Fatale. So this is the one they originally announced as an 8-woman tournament. It's now been slimmed down to 4. What it has meant is that some people who were previously announced ain't in the tournament. 2 semi-finals, Nicole Matthews against Calypso and Hyan against Becca. And all due respect to Becca, I'm so glad her songs are not catchy, because if I get a freaking remake of Copperbox and Hardcore Country, I'm on the first plane home.
Yeah, we're not getting that again.
No. Other matches announced. Of course, you'll have the Femme Fatale final. We've also got Ava Everett, Devon McCabe, WXW and GWF Women's titles, title for title. Baby Allison against Michelle Green. Anita Vaughan and Eva Klasky against Charlie Morgan and Julie. So I think Charlie and Julie were announced for the tournament. Well, they two have lost out. And changed on Friday, in fact. Regina Rosendahl, she's facing Rina Yamashita. Alison was originally up to defend a women's title. Broken John. I think she was meant to have been working for Beyond this past week, and yeah, that explains why she wasn't in the States.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Broken John will do that. So that's 2 p.m. Saturday. So I mean, heck, even if GCW runs long, I mean, that's plenty of time to get decent kit before the show starts. World Tag Team Festival Night 2, of course, you're just going to have the semi-finals. It's no big championship match unless they rush something after night 1. So the only showcase match you're going to get is Axel Tischer against Peter Tahani, the best of 5 series finale. Then obviously the other semi-final match, and usually a couple of things. I mean, if it's down to the final 6 teams, that's only 3 matches plus this, so only 4 on the card. You can have a few more things, padding this out for sure. Then later on, doors 10:30 p.m., 11 p.m. start time, GCW versus the World. So if you've got the festival pass, this is the show you get. Again, from bottom up, we've got Robert Dreisker, Lawrence Roman, and Icarus against Manders, Manswan, and Dark Sheik. I am not saying their team name out loud. Jordan Oliver against Latigo. So again, this was another one. I think that was originally, was it Akira again was against Latigo and was exactly the same thing. So we've subbed in Jordan Oliver there. Shikahiro Irie against Joey Janela. Finale catch against Magnet and Baby Allison. And then 2 title matches. You've got Axel Tischer against Blake Christian for the GCW World title. And Lou Nixon against Rini Master for the Ultraviolet title, which, okay, I don't, I mean, and also Lou's from Newcastle, I think. So, yeah, completely random, no left field booking, but if I'm sure that's the one way you're going to get all the the blood and the glass and what have you, and pity the folks for Turbine Hall cleaning up after that.
I'm sure they've had messier nights than this.
Maybe not the cocktail we're going to get, but we'll see. Then Sunday we've got Wheel of Wrestling 50. So doors 12:30, main show at 1. They've only announced, as we say, Luke Jacobs against Fast Time Mudo for that, but I think it was at Carrot Weekend they announced matches as the second night Tag Festival ended, so we'll get a few things there. And then Sunday, the Tag Festival finale, doors 4, 5 o'clock bell time. Only thing announced, of course, is the three-way final for the tournament and the tag titles. Francesco Key was also announced for show, but no opponent. And I think after that, there'll be, everyone just absolutely cream cracked by the sound of it.
Yeah, it's there's just it seems a lot more spread out, but it's because there's the night shows, isn't it?
Yeah, I think if you're doing and this thing like, without going into too much detail, like not being too well the last few weeks, but if you skip now GCW, this is probably the easiest festival to do. Like, you've got Inner Circle, then you've got 24 hours before night 1. Then that'll finish at 11 p.m. Then you've got 1:30 Saturday afternoon, so plenty of time to rest. And then if you skip GCW on Saturday night, you've got 12:30 next day. From they're doing doors at 10:30 on Saturday night. That means the Tag Festival shows can be done 10. So you've got large chunks where there's early finishes and late starts for next day. If you're going to be doing with GCW, maybe a bit pressure, but yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, Felix Kohlenberg saying this is the closest WrestleMania's done to like a WrestleMania weekend kind of thing. And so yeah, it's certainly the most variety we've had over a weekend, that's for sure. In terms of established names.
Yeah, and there's people who you may only end up seeing on one show or on the other, so it's you kind of feel if you want to get the complete, you need to see everything to get the complete sort of picture of the weekend, really.
And as we're speaking, we've got the GCW in Liverpool show on, and as you'd expect, they are hyping the hell out of a Janela Nick Gage match.
Yeah.
So I mean, they'd be daft not to.
Exactly.
I mean, again, this isn't a case of where nobody knows Joey Janela. I mean, even if you're the kind of watches nothing but WXW, Janela's over only a few years back for that feud of Bobby Guns.
Yeah, exactly. And he's worked WXW, but he's big in the he's big in Europe anyway. He's worked a lot in Britain. He's champion in bloody Belgium, isn't he, at the moment?
So, with Bodyzor, yeah.
Yeah.
Just doing a quick look with Janela and Nick Gage. They've only had 5 prior matches, none this side of the pandemic. So, and again, Nick Gage, he's not exactly wrestling every week. I think was his last match. Okay, his last match was start of the month, but he's only wrestling once, twice a month. And when you look at the number of pay-per-views GCW does, that's not that often. So I'd say probably the last time you see Nick Gage over in a big time match, but definitely the first time you'll see Nick Gage over since November 2010. Back when we did the Gorefest tournament with, was that the one with Dan Reed's promotion, Gorefest?
What, XWA?
So I'm on Cage Match, just say this with CZW, I think. No, Gorefest 2 is one of XWA. For some reason, Cage Match only says Nordrhein-Westfalen, doesn't mention any venue. I mean, that's got to be the Steffi.
Well, it could be that place in Essen.
I mean,
Have they been
literally,
kicked out of Essen yet? Because they got banned from Essen, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just seems weird how like everyone just says no event at Steffi Oberhausen, but for the 200 Deaf weekend is literally at Nordrhein Westfalen, Deutschland. Like you're picking So so we'll have a look and have a look. I mean, I think with Fridays, will be sold a lot of Nick Gage stuff, and see how it goes. But checking off what's coming after Tag Festival, of course, very little way cards. October 7th in Magdeburg, we have announced Baby Allison and Hyan Axel Tisch and Vasstein Mudo. October 21st, Wheel of Wrestling 51 in Bielefeld, no matches announced. October 27th in Limbach Oberfrone, that's a non-taped show. And just tell me if this doesn't sound right, Mike. October 28th, Wheel of Wrestling 53 in Dresden with Axel Tisch and Maggot. What happened to 52?
Oh, yeah. Something's gone wrong there, isn't it?
Yeah, like, I'm just double checking to see if they've revised from numbering stuff. Absolutely Oberhausen. Magdeburg is still alive one. They have announced a few, but it's a world. Then they say that's 51. Limbach Oberfrone on the 27th of October is Wheel of Wrestling Live, so they haven't numbered that. Dresden is still Wheel of Wrestling Live in 53, so I don't know if they're going to do like a, I'll go off the call it, when the odds and ends, the Zugaben, and they just call that Wheel of Wrestling 52, but yeah, I think someone may want to check the numbering on this, but so after really quiet summer, this weekend and then October's packed, and of course we've got the shows we mentioned in the Academy in Gelsenkirchen, so you're going from really quiet last few weeks to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shows in October. Things are heating up again.
Yeah, there's a lot going, lot to go on. As I said, the summer break always sort of leaves an opportunity for them to have to play a little bit of catch up, don't they?
I think as well, it's that whole kind of thing of they have the quiet spell, but yeah, it's the kind of thing really they needed to kind of rebound from. But so that is the World Tag Team Festival starting this Thursday. If you count in a circle, Mike will be doing all of it. I will be doing at least most of it. See what I feel like for the two GCW shows. But yeah, Mike, guess we'll see you in Germany, and folks who are going along. I don't know if there's that many of us coming over from UK and Ireland for this particular one, is there?
Well, yeah, I think Wembley paid to a lot of that.
Wembley kind of cut that off a lot, but we'll stand out like a sore thumb, no doubt. At least in terms of accents. But Mike Kilby on pretty much everything on social media. Me, it's at Ian Wrestling on pretty much everything. Big Back Body Drop on Twitter for the website. At Back Body Drop on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, whatever the hell they announced before now and then. But Mike, safe travels over, and I guess we'll see you in Oberhausen on Thursday.
Buzzing for it. Tagfest is always my favourite weekend of the year. I prefer it to Carrot, always have done. So yeah, I'm buzzing for it. It seems like it's rushed. We're rushing towards it, and it only feels like it was yesterday. It was Carrot. So yeah, really excited.
And that being said, we'll be back, I would guess, later in October once the shows have actually dropped under XW now. I think they're not going for the the headache-inducing turnaround before people get home turnaround they've been doing in the past. I think said Inner Circle's coming on the Tuesday afterwards, so a bit more of a breather at least. But we'll be back once all the shows have dropped on XW now. Follow us on social media, catch us over in Germany if you're out there, and we'll see you down the road. Tschüss.
Tschüss.